Welcome back to Power Up with Pride 2021. Have two little bits of announcements here before the next run starts. First off, we had a donation from Garby84 of $57 that just says Rainbow Dash Trail. And with that, the Ori and the Blind Forest Rainbow Dash Trail incentive has been met. Thank you for that. And also with the $25 donation from Hupfin that just says bump, we have surpassed $9,000 total in the marathon so far. So with that crest fulfilled, we will go on to Anodyne by Laser Trap.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the 9K in donations. That's awesome. It's the final day. We can definitely get way past 10K by the end. I think we can do it. Hello, I'm Laser Trap. Welcome to Anodyne. I press buttons and go fast. I've also got Seth with me. Say hello.
Hello. I'm
All right. Go ahead and introduce yourself if you want to.
Hi, I'm Seth. I will be commentating this run, and I am working on the remake for this game, so there will be lots of dev behind the scenes insights during this, especially during the any percent run after the glitchless.
Yes, thank you so much for meeting that really early on. I really appreciate those donations towards my incentive as well. Yes, so Seth, she's actually found a few skips that we'll be seeing in the glitchless run. It is glitchless, but we've got a fair few sequence breaks, I think it's fair to say. But with that, I am just about ready to go. The game is in Chinese because it's fast. How about that? Are we ready on the timer?
I believe we are.
Alrighty, so 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, welcome to Anodyne. We've got this voice talking to us in the beginning. It's sort of demanding that we do things. Rather than a tutorial saying, you can press these buttons to do this, this tutorial is more saying you will press the buttons to turn off these switches right here, and we can go right through. And I'm going through this portal, and this is kind of like the area of the game that connects all the worlds together. This is the Nexus, and we meet the Sage. The Sage kind of tells us stuff that I'm not bothered about. Immediately upon... Oops, I'm going to go back into the Nexus, apparently. Immediately upon entering this first area, I'm going to go to the menu and select the option that returns me to entrance because that warps me up a screen. Now, our hero, Young, as he's called, will go to the right and find a broom. So, our weapon of choice for this game is, in fact, a broom. Fighting off blobs with a broom. Once again, warping back to the middle of the streets. And this is sort of a puzzle game in a way. It's a Zelda-like adventure, so you can be sure to find a lot of puzzles in the various rooms. The main gimmick we've already seen is killing enemies to open gates. I'm going to save at this checkpoint because this is going to be kind of important for a few minutes later into the run. This is Mitra. She's just crashed her bike. But if I walk away before using 3 tiles and movement, then she won't talk to me again, which is a bit of a save there. So this is the woods area. It's meant to be quite spooky, but we've got the lovely Mitra music playing right now instead, because of that little skip there. Sage is going to talk to us and says, I trust by now you found a weapon, but we show him the broom, and he's a bit confused, like, what? Oh, yes, just as the prophecy stated. Of course, a broom. So this is our first dungeon, straight away into it. Get a key, return to the entrance. And we'll be seeing some mechanics with the dust here. Just a quick text box to say our broom is full of dust. So the dust can block those projectiles. And these enemies are unique to the first dungeon only, I believe? Is that right, Seth?
They show up in a few other areas, but this is the only dungeon with them in, yes.
Okay. So right there, I just picked up my first card, and I need 36 cards to complete this run, and in fact, there are only 37 I can get without first beating the game. This game is a really cool post-game quest that goes all the way up to 49 cards. But there's only 37 before that, so I've routed out one that takes about 2 or 3 minutes to get. So once again, using this dust to block off this. And these enemies, you can only kill them from behind, but you can also move them from side to side or up and down if you hit the shield on the front. A lot of the dungeons will have the locked doors as well, so I'm going to be going around to collect keys. If I move that one into the projectiles there, then that sort of allows me to get through the room quicker. But I'm also talking about it like 5 seconds after I was done with it. Okay, didn't quite get them up there at the same time. This is another room where killing all the enemies makes the gate be lowered. Here's kind of like a dust train. Oh, that's not good. Come on, let's get up. That was a little sloppy. And in just a moment, we will be seeing the first boss. I'm gonna just tank a few hits on this boss here. I've got enough health to do so. It will put me down on 1 HP by the end, but I can just stand up here and then get a hit. Now, it is faster to not get the health upgrades after each boss because it takes some time to tick up. But I will be getting 4 of them in this run, and I've really found that that does help with going fast and not having to play quite as safe later on. So yeah, this is the very strange animation of the health being added.
John, don't you also use the health to just tank 6 damage enemies later on?
I do, that is true. So I do have to do that screen transition first, and then I'm going to cancel that key animation, return to the title, and when you return to the title, it puts you back at the checkpoint that you last saved at, which happens to be before the dungeon. But all of what I've done is saved. And I'm just going to go to the right here to quickly get a card. And then we'll be done with this first area. For now.
Yeah, one of the major time-saving tricks in this run is using return to entrance and returning to the title screen to, like, warp back to places you've been before or to the entrance of the dungeon, skipping a lot of backtracking.
Yeah, I counted, and I believe we do entrance warps and or title warps a total of 50 times in this run. But this is the main area that connects everything, like, other than the Nexus. This is like the central area of the main map, the fields. I have a bit of a side quest here to quickly get through the fields, involving cats called Meow and Icky.
And the box we just got will be handy to get another card later on when we go back to fields.
Yeah, so actually the last time I ran this in a marathon, we dusted off someone's house. And that takes like 50 seconds to do. But then Seth came along and said, you can actually get this card in another way. So thank you very much for that time save. It's saved quite a lot.
No problem. I was looking at your runs just as I had implemented the whole trading sequence in fields. I was like, why aren't you getting the card from the shopkeep instead of going to that house?
Somehow nobody knew about that. This is the forest. It's kind of a quiet area. There aren't really any risky things in the speedrun. Kind of wish there was more added to this area. You've got the characters like the Thorax, who references the Lorax, and you've also got James the Bear here. But there's just one card in this area that I'm going to get. Right there, the mushroom card. Before we move on. And actually we won't see the forest again.
There's also a
So
few
next up, we're
Easter
going
eggs
to the cliffs.
here, but
Yeah,
they have a very
I
low
mean-
chance of appearing.
Yeah, I don't know if I've even seen them in a run, to be honest. So this is the cliffs. Lovely music here. But we're about to run into Mitra again. So far I've only picked up a broom that will let me do anything. But Mitra's going to give us her boots that have springs in them. So now I can jump. How about that? So we had a little bit of downtime in those areas, but now we're into the second dungeon and things can get a little bit tricky in here. Because we get two enemies that I'm not particularly fond of, the frogs and the dogs. Seth also helped me out with the patterns on the dogs because they will always run left and right and left and right. The ones that we have currently will run 3 times before pausing. Oops. But later on, like, all of the enemies sort of get upgrades and become harder that way. So I just got a key. And we're gonna go this way this time. See our friends, some frogs. Ooh, only dropped 1 health there. Oh, did I not get enough hits on you already? Good boy. So I'm gonna collect another key as well. I think like basically until the boss of this dungeon, I'll always have more than 1 key in my inventory. That right there is a 2-tile jump. They're a little tight, but they're not like frame perfect tight. I'm not sure how many frames they are, but
I haven't calculated yet, but yeah, there's a bit of coyote time when you're over a hole, and you can use that to just jump when you're already halfway over one tile.
yeah, so 2-tile jumps are like a big part of sequence breaking this run without actually using any glitches. Okay. Thankfully, saving at a checkpoint refills your health, and I always get that one there. Diagonal jump like that. Diagonal jumps are also quite tricky because Young doesn't really love moving diagonally in the air. But there are a couple points where we do them. So just coming up to the top of this dungeon, getting another card, the lovely frog card. These, ooh, they're really getting in my way. These, our friends there, they kind of look a bit like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. They get in the way a lot. In terms of damage, they are completely harmless, which is nice, but they can sort of ruin your run a little bit. But now we're going to go up to the top level of the dungeon. This top level is a little bit trickier because we've got more of the enemies that I'm not particularly fond of, and yeah, the frog projectile is really getting me right there. This room I have to fight 2 dogs at once, which is tricky. Doing them like that, a long time ago I started calling that pog dogs because I used to find it really tricky to do, but thankfully knowing the way they move, it makes it a lot easier. Oh, nice. Stayed out of my way that time. How about this one? Nice. All right. These 2-tile jumps are really not necessary because, yeah, see?
It's just
You
faster
could easily just
if
grab
you
the dust.
execute it.
Going down is also kind of finicky because you have to jump later than you think because of how the hitboxes work. But a nice thing is that you don't actually take damage from falling in the pit. I'm gonna save here. I've heard it used to be the case where you would take damage from falling, but the game's reviews greatly improved once that was removed. Now I'm gonna fight a wall. The wall doesn't really know my name. It's calling me Yang or Yan. But in between phases, to avoid attacks, I can actually just fall off and get some iframes that way, so I can be ready to hit wall when it is available again. This is a little bit slow. And I do want to avoid, if I can, ending this boss during the fist slamming phase, which I managed to do there. That wasn't a very quick fight.
This boss soft locks if you do the last hit as the fist is coming down on top of you.
Which is a bit unfortunate, but thankfully we've got Steph here and she's working on the remake. So I need to do the screen transition again to show off that statue there. Return to entrance with the key, cancel the animation, leave the dungeon, return to the Nexus now, and go back to the fields that way. Bit of warping around there, but now we're in the fields again. Those are just in-game function warps, very useful for the speedrun. And yeah, to be honest, if we did a speedrun without warps like that, it would have a lot more downtime and probably be a lot less fun.
That's why they were put in the game.
To the beach. Yeah, and I'm very grateful for it. So the beach area is kind of another side area before we move on to our third dungeon. Gonna go out of my way to get another card here. Ooh, between those blobs, they tried to close in on me.
Now that we've met the Ori and the Blind Forest incentive, I did want to mention the other upcoming unmet incentives, which include the Axiom Verge Glitch Expo. We have quite a bit to go on that one. I think right now it is at $70 out of the $450 needed. And then we also have a locked game still.
Game.
Oh yeah, Axiom Verge is great. And the second one is great as well, which is what is being played. But we also have Kirby's Dream Land, which is still a locked game on the schedule. The goal for that is $1,500. We've gotten 872 of that so far, so get your donations in if you want to see that glitch exhibition in Axiom Verge 2 or see Kirby's Dream Land.
Well, if we meet those, I believe we're going to hit 10K, right? We'll get very, very close.
I think that's how the math works out.
All right. So, just to explain something that you might have seen there, I did kind of just push a fisherman into a whirlpool. Just don't worry about it. Now we're in the sea, and it's heavily implied to be blood that I'm walking around in here. But don't worry about it. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. So this is the third dungeon. Pretty unique because it's got 5 different entrances. One of them is optional for an upgrade that I'm not going to be getting, because there are 2 broom upgrades that can make your life a little easier, but I'm not going to get them. I just freed a very strange tentacle-like object, and that made another entrance to this dungeon appear. So I'm going to be going in 4 of the 5 entrances. There's going to be a lot of warping in this section, because once I clear out the sides of the dungeon, I will then go back and up to the middle to get a key or a card, or in fact an entrance. The final entrance.
Fun fact, the base of those lasers does not have a hitbox.
Yes, that was another thing that Seth pointed out for me. You can just stand in the flower, as she called it. Flower that shoots the laser. Back to the entrance, and now we'll go up the middle now that we have the 2 keys. This one is for a card, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
Alright. So, returning to entrance in this dungeon always brings us back to this middle entrance point. So, I'm going to save at this checkpoint here. And once I clear out the sides of this part, I will return to title. And returning to title will put me back at the last checkpoint I saved at, with all of progress saved. So you can use dust to walk across water or whatever this is. Again, sort of heavily implied to be blood because we pushed a fisherman in here. Don't worry about it. It's Anodyne. It's weird, and we love it. Oh yeah, I didn't do the other key yet. How about that? We gotta go to this side first. This room's a little bit scary. Because, get back over here. If the laser hits... I don't even know what to call that thing. It's kind of like a moving rock. If the laser hits it, it will die, and I need it to press buttons with me. And as I said at the beginning of this run, I press buttons and I go fast. Call it Rocky. How about that? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. This time I'm going to return to the entrance.
I'm completely blanking on its internal name.
Alright, save at the checkpoint again, so we can title warp in this side. And this one I might even try to set up a death warp because that's slightly faster if I can lose health optimally. Ideally I would be at 4 here to do the death warp. So I might just end up doing a title warp instead.
Yeah, it's gonna be real hard to quickly die here. Escape.
No, that's bad. That's very bad. I'm gonna close the game and reopen it because I brought up the wrong menu and now my controls are all over the place. Don't worry about it. Alright. Let's reload. I think I'm gonna have to do that side again, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have,
accidentally hitting the keybind menu is a pain.
Alright, let's not do that this time. Let's return to title this time. I get really fast at menuing thanks to doing these warps so often. But sometimes mistakes like that will happen. And, you know, in a proper PB attempt, that would be a reset. I'm not doing that right here. I did that yesterday. I skipped 103 yesterday. I went from 104 to 102, which I could never have expected. I was only aiming for like a high 103, and I got a high 102. Anyway, now we're done with that. We did not mess up our keys. And free another tentacle, and the final entrance of this dungeon is now available. But first I'm going to go to the left to get a card. This is not a glitch, but you can just jump over that and the dust will follow you. There are some other much more questionable things that I may well be doing in this run. I have thought for a while that we should probably call this no major glitches. There's some hitbox displacement that will happen. We're now going to our next boss. This is the rogue. Got some pretty dangerous attacks. I'm too far right. I'm too far up. On the other hand, I could just sit in this corner and hit him from here.
Yeah,
And
he's supposed to guard against you doing this, but there's 4 hitboxes around him to check which direction you're attacking from, and if you stand directly in the corner, you can hit him while he can't detect you. So that's how that boss fight works.
And I'm going to grab another health refill. It does take time to do this, but I'm going to pick up just one more later. And I'll get another card. This key animation, I'm gonna let it play. It's a few seconds long, but...
you can't skip this one now. Anyway.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, because
you didn't activate Sage.
But I'm gonna use that Nexus portal. You may have seen a couple of statues on the rooms I very briefly entered in the previous dungeon. Previous dungeons, plural. And that's gonna be important in a moment. First, I'm going to talk to the shopkeeper, and he's going to give me card 44, which is the big SIP, the big routing change that Seth found. She's basically telling us we didn't play this casually enough. Didn't find all the ways to get everything. This is a brilliant game casually. It's not too difficult either. It's just in speedruns you can start risking everything with how much or how little health you want to go with. So this is our last main trip to Fields. There's a couple of cards that I'm going to be getting here, but actually I'm going to throw this over to our host if they would like to say anything about donations or incentives. This is a great time for that.
Sure thing. If you're just joining us, we have reached $9,000 and we are raising money for the Trevor Project, which is the leading national organization providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth. You can check them out at www.thetrevorproject.org to access their services, find out more about their impact, or to donate directly.
He was squeaking in the background there.
Yes, my bird is not used to being up at this time of day.
Aww. Love for that bird. So I've got the first card of this journey. This next one won't take too long to get. I know how well I'm doing in this section by when the music loops, but I had some misses on a couple of the enemies, so it's going to be a little behind where I would like it to loop optimally. Only about a screen and a half behind. Just some random spike traps chilling in this field. Killing that frog opens the gate, and now we'll ride around on some dust some more. And we have all the cards in the field now, so I'm going to head over to the area that is appropriately named Rainy Area. Everything in this game has very generic names. Kind of on purpose. I think it does suit the game very well.
It's actually called Windmill. For the big windmill. Inside of it.
Yeah, there is a windmill. The signs in the game call it Rainy Area. Just send this way to Rainy Area. There is, sometimes we argue about this a little bit. Not like violently arguing, but we have different names for some things based on like what the game's code says and what the game's text actually says. But yes, this is a windmill. Now I'm going to turn it on. And what this actually does is, if you notice these statues blocking the way, now they're just going to move out of the way and free up the rest of the world. So we're going to take brief trips back to all three of the dungeons we've already visited. Just after grabbing a card in the windmill area here. And beyond those dungeons is, well, more dungeons. How about that? So first we're going to go back to the first dungeon, which for some reason in the game's code is called Bedroom. I don't know why. 2 tile jumps there, and falling off brings me back to the way I came in, and that happens to be the way I want to go there. So I'm going to leave through the back of this dungeon now, and, well, we'll be back in the woods. I'm going to save here just in case. So this is an area of the woods. We came here at the very beginning of the game, but we did not have access to this without glitches. This is kind of where the game brings in all the upgraded enemies. These bats now take 2 hits and they shoot fire at you. I didn't do that optimally. I usually like to group them together, but I kind of autopiloted not doing that for some reason. Blobs, we're not going to see it just yet, but they now shoot their own little slime at you, which can be quite annoying. Get this card here, the Bat card, the new and upgraded Bat card. Spring over the wall. And then we will be heading to the creepiest, in my opinion, area in the game, which is the
It's
Thugger.
not just your opinion, John.
Oh, yeah.
It's very much meant to be the most creepy area.
So, for an unexplained reason, your broom is now a knife. You just want to talk to these people, but you can only talk to them after you've stabbed them with your knife. I'm not going to talk to them, that's not what I'm interested in, but I do have to kill 10 of them to get the card in this area.
Also, these ghosts
And,
are the first enemies that will hit you for 6 damage.
Yes, there's only 2 in the game that do that. These shadow ghosts being one of them. And everything else actually only deals 1 HP, which is quite nice. So it's all quite consistent that way. But thankfully, we only spend about a minute here if we're fast enough. It's just such a creepy area, though, because the black and white and like the music sounding like an untuned radio. Ugh. But now we're into an apartment and everything looks and sounds a little bit more normal. This is apartment. It has a really nice flow to it, the way we do it. And this is the one area of the game where we skip a card in the any percent glitchless speedrun. I've also run 100% glitchless, which isn't actually much longer than this category. But this card takes like 3 minutes to get. But we've also got some of these, what do we call them? I forget what their name is.
Silverfish.
The silverfish, I was thinking about the other one as well.
Gas guy.
Gas guy, sure, we'll go with that. If they shoot their toxic gas at you, your left and right is inverted. Actually, and your up and down, so your controls are inverted. The silverfish have some interesting mechanics where they run away from you, so there'll be plenty of puzzles in this dungeon about getting them to run away from you to step on a button to help you through.
The one thing that complicates those puzzles is that the gas from the gas guys also kills the silverfish.
Yes, it doesn't always immediately kill them. It can sometimes make them just run off the button, which also isn't ideal. So if that happens, I'm probably just going to have to reset the room. So we get our first key here. And actually, we only need to get 2 keys in this entire dungeon, whereas getting the extra card, you'd have to get at least 2 more. I can't remember.
Only
But
one
now we're
extra
up to the
key.
top floor.
But that key itself is
Oh,
also quite a detour.
Yeah, that key is like 1 minute of getting the card. So this next rat puzzle, you're meant to get both rats on the buttons at once, but you can quickly run to that corner there. These dust elevators, if they're green, you can jump on them and they'll go across. There will be later dungeons where they won't be green. I have inverted controls, but thankfully the gas didn't go towards the silverfish. If the elevators aren't green, though, you have to put dust on them to activate them. So this is, you're meant to come up from the left side pretty much, but you can also come from the right side, and that means you sort of have to spend a little bit of extra time in this room to get that button. Now through here, we've got a bit of a scary room. That switch, get the dust. block the rat. Lovely. All right, we did it. It's a little bit harder than it looks because you have to time everything just right. And as you saw there, my broom didn't hit that switch because I wasn't facing the right way. And sometimes the directions you face are a little bit uncooperative when you're using the broom. I can hear from the music that I'm on a pretty good cycle overall on this level, though. I need to do this first. This is a bit of an annoying room because you have to wait a little bit, and I didn't wait for long enough. These silverfish will change directions, and when they're not looking at you, that's when you want to sneak by them, like that. I can speed up this last phase by jumping into that corner. And I'm going to save for this boss fight even though I already have full health. This is the Watcher. Do you want to take this one, Seth? Oop.
Yeah, so he has 3 attacks. This first one he'll do, which is just spawning fire and standing there. That's the one where you can hit him the most. Oh, you already... He did it again and you were in phase 2. That's nice. And now it's a split attack.
Wow.
So...
Yeah. The split attack is the worst, but actually he's already
This
dead.
was really fast.
I'm kind of surprised because he hit me a lot at the beginning, but now we're out of there. That was a good apartment. I'm going to head back to the cavern now. I blinked. Blink and you miss it, I guess. I'm going to save at this checkpoint to set up a title warp. When I say warp in this run, these are all like using the menu functions, which are completely intended. But we also have glitched warps. We call them void warps, where if you go into the menu to warp while you're falling...
John, you want to give me this one?
Yeah, go for it.
So
I
yeah,
don't really understand it.
I just made a full video about him.
Oh, nice.
So void warps are when you return to entrance or nexus while falling into a hole. That doesn't reset your falling state. So the game still thinks you're falling, and during falling, you keep being put at the location that you fell. And that causes Young to constantly be teleported to that coordinate, which lets you skip a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, there's another glitch in that is way more powerful, which is called the wiggle glitch. So the void warps actually are still useless for all current categories.
But I do plan on running all bosses no credits, which sounds a little bit funny, but all bosses is broken because you see the credits first.
I think wiggle is still going to be more helpful in a lot of cases.
I think you found one useful void warp, didn't you?
I mean, there are multiple useful ones, but whether they win out from just wiggling through everything, I don't know.
Either way, this is space, because what's at the top of the cliffs? The space area. Trust me, this is space. Space looks exactly like this. There's some interesting lore in this area, but I kind of run right by it in the speedrun.
Yeah, we're just here for the cards.
Either side. Yeah. And continuing with the theme of this game, there's these completely harmless enemies that don't affect you in any way. These ones actually don't even have collision with me, but they're kind of there just to make you feel a bit uncomfortable. So any guesses for what's at the top of the space? The roof of a hotel. And now I'm inside the hotel. This is my favorite area in the game. Amazing music, atmosphere, puzzles. Very, very, very tricky. So hopefully I'm going to do everything right. We got a few sequence breaks to do in the speedrun. Oh no, don't do that. Okay, I got by you. I'm going to take this dust, fall off, and then bring it over here. That's a small sequence break in itself. And here we see our upgraded dogs. They are harder to predict, like they still run left and right. But
Every time they get to their destination, they will choose their destination as your position again.
yeah.
So you basically have
And
to
they
keep
run
moving.
5 times for pausing instead of 3 as the previous ones did. Alright, and these are the blobs with projectiles. Gotta go this
The
way.
one projectile you can't block with your broom, by the way.
That is true. You can block fire, but you cannot block tiny little bits of slime. Well, actually, can you block the frog things?
No. Okay. Fire is the one thing you can block with your broom.
This is a tricky jump to make. Didn't spend too long with it. Gotta quickly get that dust there for this elevator across. And then we can fall off to get back to where we came in. And now we're gonna take the elevator to level 3. We start the hotel on level 4. Get the checkpoint for a upcoming title warp, or maybe death warp if I'm bad. Although at the same time, death warps are fast if you can use them. First of all, I'm gonna go to up the right side, get another key. Why not fall off just to get right back? Open these doors. Does anyone know the intended solution for this? Alright, I'm through.
No.
I've done it a couple times, but I cannot consistently get it to work, so I kind of just damage boost through there. And we'll title warp again. So this dungeon also has a unique enemy. Besides the endgame gauntlet, those the cleaners, they will get very angry with you if you do their job for them. Otherwise, they will stay asleep. But if you pick up dust, as I needed there to go through the water, they will start chasing after you. Now, quickly before I go sequence break and get more cards and keys, I'm going to go downstairs to save at a checkpoint, because more tidal warping to save time. Nice. And then I'm going to cross this, hopefully, I'm going to cross this 2 tall gap. Hey, come on. That one's an easy one. You're allowed to laugh at me for that one. She didn't get me. I've got to take this dust with me. I guess the dust mechanics are you have to bring it with you to get through this, because otherwise it will like despawn and you won't have any dust across the water, which would be bad news.
Yeah, and if you have your dust in a broom while through a screen transition, then you also lose it. So,
Which is unfortunate. But it can happen in a run, as it did recently. This is the basement of the hotel. There's a kind of a flood everywhere. I don't know if they've noticed. Like there was a small flooding problem on the floor above as well. Last time I ran Glitchless in a marathon, I made a joke about this reminding me of my grandparents' basement. Although they got it fixed now. So
and now
just
let's
have
go
to
the
do a
other
little bit
direction.
more. Yeah, a little bit more. You see that eye there? That's actually the manager spying on us. The manager of this hotel is a little bit mean to us as well. Perhaps a little bit creepy, dare I say. And here they are again. So I'm now going to fight an eyeball. These projectiles I can block. It's kind of like, I don't know what these are. They look a little bit like the dust that I'm floating on. That's just one phase down. Thankfully, 3 health is given to you at the end of that phase. Then we'll start the second phase, and let's see if I can do it nice and quick. Nope, you ran down. Ooh, this is not very friendly RNG. It's okay, though. And this is the last health upgrade I'm going to get. It's not the last one that I could get, but it's the last one I'm going to get. And we'll get the boss card, return to entrance, and just go down a little bit to get to the Nexus portal. Turn to Nexus. Get back to the center of the Nexus, and we will go back to the end of the third dungeon we did, because more dungeons after the dungeons. So this is odd. This is the cell. Everything's 8-bit now, and it's kind of a nightmare casually to figure out. Sort of like a labyrinth. So in the speedrun, however, we just memorize the way to go. And it's not actually too tricky. I don't have an awful lot to say right here, so I'm going to pass it over to the host again, and hopefully we can hear something about your lovely donations.
Well, we do happen to have a $50 donation from Lennox, who says, "The Pollos will continue until Dreamland is unlocked." That's referring to our bonus game, Kirby's Dream Land. Still has a bit to go on it. Looks like the goal is
nice.
$1,500, and we're at $922 of that goal so far.
That's coming along nicely. I'm going to briefly show you a teaser of what the next dungeon looks like, but then I'm going to go back into the cell again. Because I still need to get a card, and these are the chasers. They speed up when I use my broom as well. These are the other enemy in the game that deals 6 damage, and I'm going to walk right through one right there. Now, Barrel in second place, their time is actually very impressive. Former world record of 105.52. Actually was even on 103 pace very early on before Steph's route changes came in. But what they did was they were the first runner to not get any broom upgrades or any health upgrades. So, like, in the second half of the run, that did mean they weren't able to do these damage boosts here, and they had to play it quite safe as well. They haven't run this game in a little while, but they also have the any percent glitched record and the all bosses record. Very impressive to watch. So just a little bit further, choosing the right path will get us to the card. And then we can, because I already entered the next dungeon, I can just return to the Nexus and enter through the portal. Just like that.
Mortals in chat saying, "Love how this game skips from all enemies deal 1 damage to these 2 enemies deal 6 damage." Yeah, those enemies are like meant to be basically insta-kills.
Yeah, they would be insta-kill if you didn't get any health upgrades, because the base health is 6. I had to kill those enemies right off the bat there to open a gate for later, because this dungeon has some seriously puzzling puzzles when you're playing casually. But thankfully I already know my way through. Some more fire bats here. We're gonna have quite a few detours in this dungeon for cards and keys. Still faster than going out of our way in apartment, however. Ooh, I missed the button. I don't actually want to necessarily get all the way across that gap, just like that. I can clip the edge, hit the button. This one I do want to get across, if you don't mind, Young. Hey, Young, buddy. Where are those springs in your shoes? Bit of a slow rat puzzle here. Just gotta wait for a moment.
This dungeon has seen one of the most recent changes to the routing.
Yes.
Mostly
And
because of stuff
course,
that I found.
Yes. Credit to you. This dungeon is actually a circus. I don't think I mentioned that yet. But this is the circus dungeon. The last dungeon we go into before endgame, it's just a circus. We're gonna see some circus-themed enemies coming up soon as well. Oh, are you not dead? Come on, Bat. Work with me here. The Stackrobats, as I call them. Oh, don't kill me, come on. Still got plenty of health, I'm actually fine. So once you do 3 hits to the stack, they then separate and you have to hit all of them for the enemy to be considered dead. Return to entrance there. Now we are going to go to the right this time, and do you want to explain the thing that you found that's coming up, Steph?
Yeah, so we're abusing the fact that the state of these switches is not actually part of the save state. So we save here, go back to the entrance, turn them back off, warp to title,
Ta-da!
and they're off. This skips a whole platforming section to the right there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we still have to do a pretty large chunk of this puzzle, but that's at least 10 seconds skipped, I would say. Now I have to turn them back on right there. And this is where we save a servant. We need to give them a nice cushion to land on, and we've been doing a lot with brooms and dust, so I think a cloud of dust will do. Get a key, return to entrance, and this time we're gonna go up at this section. We're about to run into something that at first I thought was a boss, because there are carved stones in this dungeon, and one of them says, "I was mauled by a lion." So I got here and I thought, it's the lion. So I thought it was the boss, and it was really tricky to handle as well. But as it turns out, it's just a regular enemy, and there are quite a few of them. There are going to be a couple cases where I have to fight 2 lions at once, and it can be really difficult. I do know what I'm doing with that now, but even then, I actually died to one of the lion rooms in my previous world record. Clever pigeon, please verify my runs. Don't worry, I'm just being cheeky there. I really don't want them to do the fire attack. Okay.
And here we're saving the second servant.
Yes. But they don't really know how to thank us. They're just going to say ... and then run off.
As it turns out, they didn't want to be saved.
No, they didn't.
For people who are sensitive to this, slight content warning about suicides being depicted in the next boss fight.
Yes, that is a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. That's still a couple minutes away.
Yeah, just...
First, we got to get a couple cards. But yes, thank you very much for that warning. I slipped my mind. Let's see if
Especially given the charity we're fundraising for.
Yes. So there's a couple more checkpoint warps, using the title to get back to that checkpoint. Kind of go all over the place on this dungeon. Another Stackrobot fight.
This is by far also the largest dungeon in the game.
Oh yeah, my split is... For a long time it was above 10 minutes. I don't know how long it is now. I think it might be like 8 minutes or so. Oh, don't do this. The fire attack. Okay.
You didn't get hit by a single one.
I died last time. Yeah. Because for some reason the broom can put out the fire. Very handy.
Fun fact, Dust also does that, but that's not really usable in any reasonable way during the fight. Because your broom will also just keep picking up the dust, so...
I do use dust to just like casually go over fire, like in the water sections I did before those lions. Oh, I'm low on health. Okay, now I'm better. Yeah, 5 is enough. Just... Okay, I'll be fine. More health, thank you. Now I have to go back down to open the gate here, and I'm also going to save at the checkpoint so that I don't have to walk all the way back once I get the last card. We'll go back up. This is a very finicky section of the dungeon as well, with these boost pads. Getting them to work properly, as you see there, doesn't always work with you. I'm gonna totally get hit by something. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Looks a little scruffy, but honestly, it could be so much worse.
Those fire bats can get in really bad positions on the screen. Also, something being shown here, a lot of enemies just ignore gates altogether, which gives the potential for a soft lock later.
Well, it's
with
not
a lion
necessarily
just
a soft lock because they can come back into the room, but
yeah, but you're better off resetting.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so this is the boss fight. Just content warning, as Seth mentioned, for the end of the fight. But first off, there's something that we're hoping to happen. 60% chance, and it hasn't happened.
Oh, they jumped. They'll jump in the opposite corner, but you'll already probably kill them by the time they get there.
No, unfortunately not. Oh. Okay, so I just killed them while being really far away because they did the throwing attack. And when that happens, the hitbox is still there for... I don't know how to explain it. Yeah,
the combined sprite stays where it is when the throw happens until they recombine. And you can still hit it, so...
Alright, so that's all 6 of the main dungeons done. Dungeon, haha. And also we should have 35 out of 36 cards now, if everything went well.
I don't think you missed any.
Yeah, it felt like I did everything right. My in-game time seems to line up with getting everything, at least. As well as being a bit slower than I would usually like it to be, but that's okay. Can't expect everything to go right in a marathon setting. Remember this screen for later, by the way.
Yeah, in the 90% run, this screen will be fun.
Yes. So this
we
is
won't have
the start
the
of
boots.
endgame. This is the start of endgame. Just gonna go over and get card number 36 first. And we'll go back in. Now Sage is going to talk to us about, hey look, you got 36 cards, but oh, this gate actually says 92. But we're not fooled, and we'll open the gate anyway. Sage is really unhappy with us. They know that we were we were meant to be going on this quest, but it doesn't really believe that we're good enough to do this. At the beginning of the game, it says that we are chosen to face the Briar. And Sage is the one to deliver this message once we are in this strange world. But after watching what we've done, clearly we're not ready, so now we have to take on Sage. This is going really well. Very nice fight. That's especially hard to do with no broom upgrades. In the old bosses run, we actually pick up the extend broom to have a larger hitbox forwards, but I don't have that here. This is the technically a broom upgrade that I am going to get. This is the tile swapper. You heard that right. I'm gonna just casually swap these tiles, but I can't just use it anywhere I want. In fact, you have to beat the game for that to be possible.
And
we're
even
not
then, there
gonna
are
delve
areas
into
where
that
you
today.
can't.
Yeah. So now we have like 2 final challenges before the final boss.
Blue, which
I've
is a platforming section mostly, and there's red, which is a combat gauntlet.
Yes, red is by far the hardest area in the game. So beating it first try, I would be extremely happy with. First of all, blue. If I can get through this with enough health, it would be useful to do a little title warp at the end. So far, it's going well. But also to get the title warp, I have to not save in the middle of this section. Ooh, there's a couple bits of damage. And the inability to save here makes it a little bit harder, as you might imagine. Not just because I want to save my game, but because it refills my health. But this is only a minor time save, and if I'm going to die, then I will, of course, save and refill my health. Ooh, more of these speed pads not quite helping out. Nice, made it over that first try with the air blowing against me. Alright, I should have enough health for this final bit. It's gonna be a little bit tight. Make a 2 tile gap there, nice. Just walk through this. I need the dust. 2 health remaining. Yeah, we're good. Alright, so now we gotta press these buttons, but we're not fast enough. So Mitch is gonna come along and help us. And then we will see the water animation. This very strange shadowy figure that actually looks a lot like Briar is going to bring the water to the middle. Quick return to title to save a couple seconds here. Now Mitch is going to come and say hello to Sage. We're going to tell Sage, or Mitch is going to tell Sage that she is our friend. And Sage is going to threaten to destroy her bike, which is named Wares. And I'm going to make a very noble sacrifice in the name of speed and get in the way of the fireball. You can let Wares be destroyed, but that's the bad ending. It's not actually, but being kind in this section is in fact fast. So this is happy. Everyone's saying you're going to save the day. Perfectly normal, right? Uh-oh. I'm going to save. I'm scared. All right, so this is red. Very menacing. Big challenge. Huge gauntlet. A few minutes without a checkpoint. It's not even that I'm trying to avoid the checkpoint. It's that there are no checkpoints in the game. No, don't do that, Lion. Hey, he's gone. I'm gonna have to reload the room.
You might get him to jump, but yeah, reloading. This room can easily be reloaded, so...
What that does
works.
also do is put me on really low health, and it's only the second enemy room. This could be quite bad. That's why I saved at the beginning of this area. Alright, let's see the movements of the Stackrobats, if they're gonna work with me. Not the worst. Okay, they're all in their separated form. Okay, 6 health. We'll see how this goes. These purple ghosts, by the way, 50-50 chance, and I'm gonna get hit by the gasp. Don't worry about it. Nice. 3 health drop there for me. That's very nice to see. Yep, he's going. How many times? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just lost 9 coin flips in a row.
Oh, that was a really bad ghost. What the fuck? Oh.
Don't worry about it. I do have really low health now, though. Hopefully all will be okay. Oh, okay. So that is a big time loss. I have to redo some areas. Fortunately, some of the rooms, the gates will still be open. I think such as the room with the lion and the wolf, right? This one, however, is closed again. Yeah, they're really not being kind to me today, those lions. Even with 15 or 16 health casually, this was a tricky area for me to get to. Oh, I don't like this. I do have to redo this room as well. But yeah, that purple ghost RNG was officially the worst I've ever had myself. Okay, we got some good health here though. A little bit slow at the moment, but we've got good health. This gate, thankfully, is open, and yeah, this gate is also open, so now we're going to be good to get through. Shame about that death. Can't exactly expect to get through here deathless. The nice thing about this room is that you actually only have to defeat 3 enemies for that gate to open. This one, the gate opens with only 1 dying, but when I come back, if they're not all dead, the gate will be there again, blocking the way.
Yeah, that,
so
that
I
gets,
make sure they're all
gets
dead.
triple counted for some reason. I know the reason, but I don't feel like explaining it on stream right now.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. All right, so we're done with that. Bit of a shame about that death. A little bit costly in terms of time, but I'm hoping I can still beat the time that I got the last time I did this in a marathon, which was a 1:06:29. And we're heading into the final boss now. So this is Briar. We didn't really mention it in the run, except for when we got to the end game, but this is kind of what's been hyped up since the beginning of the game. And this is kind of a bullet hell in a way phase of the boss. And then we have 3 hits of fire to the ice side, 3 hits of ice to the fire side, as you do. Doesn't explain why there's fire and ice, but we gotta do it. So it's gonna give us the fire hits first, it looks like. And putting the dust there, it's not necessarily meant to act as a hit, but that's what I can do in the speedrun. Consistent and fast. This one won't always work with me, but if I put it in there, hopefully, yeah, nice. So it's going to leave us now with the 3 hits of fire to the ice side. And we're going to play ping pong. Alright, 2 more to go. Played this a little bit sloppy, but this boss isn't too hard for me after learning how to speedrun.
One more.
In an old boss's run, I'd be almost dead, because I only have 6 health in that run. Because we just... In a run as short as all bosses, there's no time to pick up health upgrades, but it's okay, because the boss is dead, so do get ready on time. It's going to be in about 30 seconds, and we're going to have a bit of a chat with Briar up here. They say, dude, young, move your arms and legs a little bit. Honestly, you'd never survive without me. So they teach us how to swim, and then they offer us to go get a sandwich or something. Sage comes and says we performed adequately, and then at the top of the screen, that is... time. All right. So I'm just going to speed through the credits. We can speed them up. While we're doing this, maybe I could hear what the time is in just a second, but I'll give a shout out to the Barrel, one of the most amazing players of this game. Seth and Cynthia for working on the remake of this game, and of course the original makers were Melos and Marina. Very supportive of speedruns because the speedrunning server is actually the same as their general game studio server. Clever Pigeon, a very important member of this community. He's got the 100% glitched record, which 100% glitched is 27 minutes, and we just saw glitchless any percent in over an hour. And then one final shout out, we're about to do the any percent run. So shout outs to Lifning, who held the record for years when this came out with a very impressive 457. They still have third place, and I have not beaten 457. I have a 458. But yeah, what was the time on Glitchless? Do we know?
It was 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 54 seconds.
Oh, didn't quite beat it. Still, I am perfectly happy with that. There was the death, which was probably more than a minute, especially with how slow it was. It could have been 2 minutes even, how slow it was on the way back. I had to exit the game at one point, which is not a mistake I usually make, but it happens when you make a slight menuing error. So are we ready for the any percent run?
Yes, let's give the people what they wanted.
Yep, thanks so much for donating $400.
Okay.
I'm actually going to take a quick drink. Seth's going to take over most of the commentary because we're going to see some interesting glitches. The estimate for this one is 6 minutes. Hopefully I should get like around a minute under that. But let's kick it off in 3, 2, 1, go. Starts off most of the same for the first 35 seconds, and then it's going to be Seth's time to shine.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say, before we get really into it, we saw a lot of items in that last run. Any percent glitched, you know, you can get any percentage of items, but it happens to be 0% in this game. So, that said, we're going to talk to the stage once more, and Seth, over to you.
Yep, in this run we will be opening exactly 0 chests. Because physics is very broken. So what John is doing here is moving up slightly every time they switch the screen around. Because as the screen is moving, the screen you're going to is just not part of the physics system until it's fully loaded. And the frame it is loaded, you're already back on the other screen. So that's how the wiggle glitch works.
Yep, and we get past Mitch's text box again. I still don't have the broom, and I'm not in fact going to get a broom. I'm just going to wiggle out of bounds again. This can be hard to look at, particularly at the end. There's going to be like a full minute plus of wiggling, so if you are sensitive to that, look away, and I'll warn you. But also there's this.
Which is completely intended. There's actual specific code for making this glitchy effect for when you're completely out of bounds of the map.
Yeah, we'll get more on that in a moment, but I'm going to go.
It was one of the more fun effects to implement in the remake, in my eyes. So some more wiggling here, and then coming up is pit skip. Since we don't have the boots, we can't jump, but we will get past the pit. The reason we can is that whenever Young changes between
very nice
down and left and up and right, there's an extra update which resets the falling state.
I didn't skip the sage text. Aw, that probably kills sub 5.
And now we're going to wiggle out of bounds again.
Yeah, that pit skip, though, is definitely the hardest part of the run. So I'm really happy at how smoothly it went. I didn't even get caught on a corner. That's about as well as you can ask for it to go for.
And what you see now is a parallel universe, which is shifted up by one tile because we went to the right. This is a quirk of how tile lookup in a map works. There's a bit of mod involved, not too much, but yeah, it allows us to just walk to the top of the other map, and we're in the end game area already.
Indeed. So, we love a
And
bit of
we're
parallel
just going to keep
universes and
wiggling
wiggling.
straight past the end boss.
This is a little bit hard to look at times. So this is a big wiggle, and if you're having trouble looking at it, I would advise you to look away for the next minute or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the end game.
We're now wiggling 2 full screens up, so this takes a while, but also Laser Trap is counting the transitions because every 5 transitions in this game?
It's 6.
Is it 6? There's a slight difference between different versions of the game, how many wiggles you need to get through a tile. And here, because that tile on the right
7.
is counted as water, you need more wiggles because water slows you down.
Yeah, I do 8 on that one just because I would want to be on the left side anyway. And hey, look, the end game. So get ready on time again. Thank you so much for having me. First Power Up with Pride Marathon. It's been a wonderful time. We've raised a wonderful amount of donations. Let's keep pushing for all the donation incentives. My eye is definitely on the Axiom Verge glitches. Axiom Verge 2, that is. And time. I'm gonna guess that was a 5:02.
That looks like it's right. 5:02.
All right.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I just missed the text box skip on the Sage. But other than that, everything in that 80% run went about how I would want it to go. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I do stream pretty regularly. I'm not going to be playing Anodyne immediately after this. I actually got into GDQ's One and Done-a-thon, so I'm going to be showing off my favorite speedrun of all time, which is LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga DS free play. And I won't spoil it too much for you, but Yoda goes Zoom. So if you're interested in what that means, of course, I would love it if you checked out my stream. Other than that, thanks so much, Seth, for being here.
Thank you. If anyone wants to see how the remake development goes, I also stream that sometimes. It's been a while, but I'm planning on getting back into streaming the development. We're about 90% of the way done with 90% left, of course.
Yes. Loving seeing that Star Wars canon. But yeah, thank you so much. And maybe I will see everyone here in a future marathon. But that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laser. And that's going to be it for me as well. I have been Ellen Motos. I'm turning the host stand over now to Jal for the next run. So have a good one and keep watching this marathon. It's been great so far.